So we're going to start off again with the phylum Platyhelminthes. Acoelomate, bilateral, cephalized, have a simple brain. All have simple or complex organ systems, and most are hermaphrodites. So, characteristics of Platyhelminthes. Two major evolutionary advances: cephalization, which is the concentration of sense organs into a head or anterior region. They also show bilateral symmetry. Both allow for more directed motion or direction where is most efficient. So when we talk about them, now we have this lists 3 classes. We do have a 4th class as well that I'm going to mention. So you have the tubularians, the trematodes, monogenera, and cestoda, which are the tapeworms. So when we go through and look at the organ systems, okay, so we have found in a variety of habitats, bilateral symmetry, all right, acoelomate, meaning they have an incomplete gut, mouth, pharynx, and intestine. Now that's with the flatworms, is what they're usually called, and most are going to have both male and female reproductive systems and may participate in cross-fertilization. Okay, so we have different organ systems here. We have trematodes, which are parasitic flukes. Almost all of these are endoparasites of vertebrates, meaning that they are going to get into some kind of vertebrate at some form. We see right here, these ones use an intermediate host before they get to a vertebrate, which is very interesting. You see that kind of a lot where they will take some kind of invertebrate, they will advance themselves, grow, and then they will become ready to parasitize some kind of vertebrate species. Okay, so as we look through here, many have glands that will produce a cyst around one or more of the life stages. Many have hooks in the oral structure for adhesion. Okay. Now we have the class Cestoda, which are going to be the tapeworms. So as we look at the tapeworms here, we see that they will infect a host. They will enter into the host, and then they will grow, having fed on the food that the host is taking in. Okay. So now we're going to move into the roundworms, which are the nematodes. Nematodes, many possess a cuticle, which is a non-living outer layer secreted by the epidermis. This will restrict growth and must be molted before they can move on. All right. We look at the nematodes, pseudocoelom, a false coelom, not lined with a mesoderm. They have a complete digestive system. And then we see that you have 2 coelomate lineages. So we're moving on here past the nematodes. All right, nematodes. One thing that we'll get into, nematodes are extremely parasitic. There are a lot of very interesting types of nematodes that they will, grow inside people's lungs. They will grow inside people's digestive systems. They also, like the flatworms, will at times use an intermediate host. So it's important to realize that with the nematodes, while they're called the roundworms, we have the flatworms, which we did earlier, and then we have the roundworms, which are the nematodes, not to be confused with the annelids, which are coming up, which are going to be the earthworms. So the 2 coelomate lineages, we have deuterostomes, which are echinoderms, or echinodermata, which you're going to find in starfish, things like that, and chordates, which we are chordates, really the vertebrates is where we're going to see it. And then the protostomes, mollusks, annelids, and arthropods. So we're going to start moving into some of those. Okay. We see the protostome versus deuterostome, how the cells undergo cleavage. You see that when at the 8-cell stage, deuterostomes have radial cleavage, whereas the 8-cell stage, it is spiral and determinate cleavage in protostomes. The coelom formation we see is a little different, and we see the blastopore, which is an opening. The blastopore is going to be developing the mouth in protostomes, and it develops the anus in deuterostomes. So it's got a little bit of difference there. So when we start getting into our mollusks, okay, mollusks next, as we talk about them, we are dealing with bilateral, soft-bodied protostome with their coelomate, okay? Most have mantle that drapes over the body and will secrete the shell, okay? So they will end up with a shell. Most have a fleshy foot, right? This fleshy foot is going to be used for, kind of moving around and feeding, and the radula is going to be used for shredding food, all right? So as they eat it, it's going to help them to shred up the food. All right, Mollusks Diversity, we have the gastropods, the chitons, the bivalves, and the cephalopods. Okay, and we see right here as we move into the body plan of a snail, you can see the radula, the tongue, to kind of shred their food and bring it in. We also see that there is the foot, which is going to be used for moving it. And then we also in here see the body plan of a clam. That clam is going to, on the next slide, sorry. It has a lot more to it than you kind of think. As you look at a clam, there is the gills and the foot, the palps, the mouth, right? All of these different things to help the clam. All right. So as we look at the gastropods, most diverse of all the species, the gastropods are terrestrial. Most are sedentary because of a shell. They don't have the gills. So you're looking at land and freshwater snails, slugs, and things like that. Then when we talk about the bivalves, clams, mollusks, and scallops are all going to be bivalves. They're sedentary filter feeders. They lack a head, radula, and cephalization. So they don't have cephalization, most marine. So then we look at the cephalopods. Only the Nautilus retains the external shell. All move by jet propulsion. So the cephalopods, you're going to have your squid, octopus, marine predators, the Nautilus as well. Specialized for expelling water from the mantle cavity. So that's how the jet propulsion is going to work. And they have large brains relative to the body size. Okay, and we look right here, we have a picture of a cuttlefish. It has a closed circulatory system with a heart and accessory heart as well. The next we're going to go into are the annelids. All right, annelids are going to be your earthworms, segmented coelomate worms. Okay, so you have your sandworm, earthworm, and leech are going to be your examples of those. Okay, and then we have some of the marine ones. Right here, bristles extend from paired fleshy parapods on each segment. Head end is specialized. We look at the leech, predators and parasites, less obvious body segmentation. Most have sharp jaws. And we have the earthworm right here, and it has very few bristles per segment. All right, we see this. We see the earthworm circulatory system right here, how it has hearts all throughout it. And we see the earthworm digestive system right here, where the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, the crop, the gizzard, how things move through. And take a look right here at the nervous system, okay, as it has a brain and nerve cords.